Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, there's a lawsuit going on right now that was just filed last week of a woman who is allegedly saying that on a Carnival cruise ship, she received no assistance. She's wheelchair bound, 61-year-old, received no assistance from the crew to get off the ship and ended up going down the ramp and falling over and hurting herself, sustaining long-term injuries. Well, let's dive into this just a little deeper. So the lawsuit claims that the Carnival Mardi Gras was parked at Amber Cove, and the 61-year-old amputee decided that she wanted to go ashore and explore the port area. She says, though, when she arrived at the ramp, no crew member offered her assistance or gave her assistance to get off, so she started down the ramp herself. She started picking up speed. Obviously, if you've gone on a cruise and you see those ramps going down to get off sometimes, they can be quite steep in some cases. She started picking up speed, and then her wheel spoke struck a piece of wood that was sticking out from the side of a ramp into the ramp slightly, causing her to spill over and fall to the ground, causing injuries that she sustained, long-term injuries, it's quoted as saying. Okay, well, what does Carnival Cruise Line say in there, when you're reading on stuff about wheelchairs? I travel with a lot of people in my groups who have scooters and wheelchairs, and usually the crew is like bang on. They're there to help you, right? But there are some times, like on tender ports and stuff like that, there's not a lot they can do. They can't lift the person with a scooter and everything onto another boat to get you ashore and then up a ramp over there. They don't have those kind of personnel that can push you around in the port, shall we say. So yes, there's limitations, but usually at a port where you're not tendering and you're going in, they have some kind of accommodation, to get you on and off the ship, provided the area you're going to is a safe area to visit, not just an industrial area, for instance, or you have a car waiting for you or a bus excursion. So on its website, Carnival says it's committed to accommodating its guests with disabilities so they can fully yet safely enjoy the ports of call. Guests wishing to disembark the vessel on their mobility device must be able to safely navigate the angle of the gangway while the ship is docked in port, the website also states. So you also have to be able to be in somewhat control of the device you're getting off. That's kind of legal jargon for exit at your own risk, enter at your own risk kind of thing, right? But it does kind of cover them because it's not written anywhere that a crew member will help you get on and off the ship. Nowhere in the documentation. And can that be an implied, contract kind of thing, that it's implied that they will help you? Nowhere in this comment, they accommodate guests, but accommodating guests just means they're accommodating you on the ship, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they're accommodating getting into ports. It doesn't mean they're accommodating to get you to the ship from the airport. It doesn't word out word for word what accommodating means. Now you can read into it that this lady should have been helped, and you see people on embarkation and disembarkation all the time getting helped off in wheelchairs and things like that. That they will do, that they will arrange to get you on and off the ship. But as far as when you go into cruise ports, that can be a different story. They don't necessarily have all their crew available to wheel people on and off the ship. They don't have dedicated people for that. Remember, they work in shifts. Some people are off that day. Some people are ashore that day. Some people are running tours that day. It's a lot of stuff they have to do. So I understand that here's my next thought. If you're in a wheelchair and it's a steep ramp and you don't have any help, why did you start going down the ramp if you didn't think you could make it down? Yeah, and I know, you know, the frustration of not being able to do something, and everyone should be allowed to do something and be able to do something. I fully support that. There should be a way to do this. But I think maybe, you know, we don't know how long she waited there. Did she just start down the ramp as soon as she got there? These are questions that all have to be answered. Was she there for 20 minutes and no crew member offered to help? That might be a different deciding factor, right? If they basically just ignored her or, you know, said they weren't going to help her. Well, if they said they weren't going to help her and then she goes on her own, that's on her at that point. So there's a lot more in this lawsuit that I need to find out about. And I'm very curious to see when more details come out, because when Carnival was contacted, they just said, take a look at our website and check out what our policy is. And I just read it to you. Guests wishing to disembark the vessel must be able to safely navigate the angle of the gangway. It says it right there on their website. And then when the people who contacted Carnival said, okay, well, let's go back to the lawyer of the lady, well, they refused to comment. So obviously they're getting ready to go to court. They don't want to tip their hand to their opponents there. What do you guys think? Because I travel with a lot of people with mobility issues. Some go ashore, some don't. Sometimes they get help, sometimes they don't. A lot of it depends on the actual port you're in. Now, Amber Cove is kind of like a little destination in itself when you get there. So it is set up for people with some mobility issues and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what the issue was on that particular day. However, do you think, hey, if you don't have help, maybe, you know, 61-year-old female who's, you know, paraplegic might not be the best idea to be going down a ramp by yourself? Was it the Carnival crew's fault for not helping her? It's kind of that gray area, right? What are the expectations of the crew in this situation? Should they be mandated to help people on and off the ship? I don't know. And, you know, it's a lot different, you know, helping in a wheelchair a 30-year-old woman who weighs about 110 pounds compared to somebody who's been in a chair for a long time, and because of that they've gained weight, who weigh 300, 400 pounds in a wheelchair going down a ramp. That's a completely different story, right? Do we base it on the person now and not necessarily the disability? There's so many questions that this lawsuit could bring up and bring out. And I don't know the answer. I would like everyone to be able to do everything that they possibly can to enjoy the cruise. But I can understand a cruise line saying, you know, when you get off, you got to have some control yourself of the vehicle you're in and the way you get off the ship. But it's still that gray area. We'll see what the lawsuit. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think it's the cruise line's fault? Do you think it's the lady's fault? Do you think there's a whole lot of questions yet to be answered like I do? Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.